Every woman has a story, one of courage, resilience, and change. Some fought for truth, some lifted a nation, some built something bigger than themselves, but none of them waited for permission to be heard. This Women's Month, the Pod Network, in partnership with Hit Productions, honors Filipino women who spoke up, stood up, and changed the game. Because women who talk know how to listen. This is Hear Her Story. Angel Locsin, a hero both on and off the screen. For years, she played the roles of powerful women, but her greatest impact came when she stepped out of the spotlight to serve. She didn't wait for permission to help, she moved. She organized relief operations, rebuilt communities, and stood beside the unheard. In a world where women are told they speak too loudly, she proved that actions speak just as powerfully. Because real heroes don't wait for a script. This is her story. This Women's Month, we celebrate voices that inspire. At the Pod Network, together with Hit Productions, we're proud to share these stories. Because every woman's journey deserves to be heard. Because women who talk know how to listen.
The Pod Network Entertainment.
The living life for others. It's different when we have a purpose that's beyond ourselves. It's different when we're living it for others so that people will be happy, so that they will love me. It's the earning
Their love.
earning of the love, earning of my place under the sun. Our value is not inherent, and we have to have someone give it to us. We have to ask permission to be seen and heard.
So our love language is acts of service.
Usually, acts of service. Parang lahat nga di ba? When we have that, we call it the anxious style, attachment
Right,
style,
right.
is that we do everything because we're codependent on people's reaction to us. Because how they react, how their moods are, talks about who we are. And we have to get out of that.
Hi, this is Mirza Season. Welcome to You Can Do This, a podcast that'll help you achieve your dreams and goals one episode at a time. What are you waiting for? Let's go! Society tells us to be strong, but not too aggressive, ambitious, but not too selfish, nurturing, but not too emotional. Addressing our fears and concerns today is an executive coach, an organizational development consultant, a neurosemantics trainer, NLP master practitioner, and a meta coach licensed by the International Society of Neurosemantics. She will help us debunk the myths that make women play small and get paralyzed by self-doubt so that we can finally own our own unique power as women. Welcome back to the show, Coach Sheila Tan.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back. Hi, everyone.
Hi, and still Women's Month and
Yes.
still a timely topic for women everywhere. So, what do you like about Women's Month?
That is a space for us to talk about the struggles and the victories of being a woman.
Right. And we'll zero in on a certain facet of that kind of struggle and victory today. So, what holds us back as women from reaching our full potential and power?
I think our beliefs of what's expected of us. I think that we have a lot of perception on who we need to be, what society dictates of us, and we allow ourselves to be dictated is the problem.
Right. And why are we so concerned and obsessed with these impressions of society?
I think part of it is cultural, that when maybe our moms parent us, they say, oh, babae ka, you should be like this, you should be
Right.
like that. So we hear a lot of shoulds. And then because we are wired to please people, we are wired to not disappoint, then we try to be all of those.
Do you mean biologically as women? Is our wiring different from those of boys? Or is it conditioning?
It may be both. It may be both because women have a lot more, we're wired to have what we call non-screening thinking. With men, they're wired to be more focused. And so whatever you say, even if they want to give attention to it, they just can't.
Kaya pala.
Yeah. So they're able to focus more. With women, we're wired because maybe as mothers, we need that
Right.
to have a lot of attention. And so we give attention to so many things and we want to please everybody as a result.
Right. Okay. What else holds us back? Social expectations, people pleasing.
The second guessing of ourselves, that I think the concept that I need to deserve and I need to prove.
Oh.
I mean, whoever said that we need to prove to whom and why?
What are some things that come up often in your coaching sessions or your workshops about what they need to prove?
They need to prove that they're credible, that they're as smart as the others, that they come from logic, that they can make good decisions as well. And I'm thinking, why do you need to prove that? Can you do it or not? Because if you can do it, then just do it. Why do you have to have that extra baggage of needing to prove? Because when we need to prove, it comes from an assumption that I'm not good. And so I need to take a step just to exist, just to deserve that space. But if we come into the world thinking, I already deserve the space, I just need to make the most out of it, it comes out differently, the way we express ourselves.
Wow. So there's always this, I'll show them.
Right.
Parang
Why?
papakita ko sa kanila na, bakit nga? Saan nagagaling yan?
Diba? Inaapi ka. May galit sa'yo.
Persecution complex. Is it cultural?
I guess it comes from the expectations nga, and then it becomes an inner critic of, see, I'm not good
Very
enough. I should be
dangerous.
that. I should be that. And then because it's so negative out there, when we talk, it now feels like there's so many persecuting us when wala naman. Sobrang, I think it's more an exception for people to feel actually persecuted, right? And if we experience that in the rare circumstance that it happens, it's having words to it of, this is what I'm feeling. Is this what's happening? What's the objective of this? Being able to put it on the table is a power that we have because we feel. We have, I think that as women, we have more ability to read the room.
Yes, too much.
Right.
Too much that we want to please the room.
Exactly. So if we could just balance that to what's helpful for us,
Right, right.
read the room and be able to put words into that is something that will have a real edge on if we can.
Can you give an example?
So if we feel that, for example, as a woman, I feel that my opinions are always being questioned. And if someone else says it, a man says it, then it's considered valid. Then putting words into, I'm curious. I feel like I have the same idea, and this is how I get responded to. May I know the difference? What's the criteria here?
Right. So articulate it.
Articulating.
Don't just like resent it silently and then
yeah,
explode.
Exactly, or explode, or get out of the room, or just scream, or whatever, right? Because they may not be aware. And if they're not aware and we attack them, they will justify themselves. They will defend. As opposed to when we ask the right questions, then they begin to think about it. I wonder what the criteria is for getting budget approval, for example, so that I know how to do it next time.
Or I wonder why you're inadvertently mansplaining this to me. Pwede ba yan?
Then it comes from victim mentality, diba? So just say, so this is what I'm hearing.
Right.
Where's this
right.
coming from? What's the objective?
Right. Wow. How do you get to be like that?
When we don't take things personally.
That's a hack also. That's a
Right.
life hack.
Oh, super, super. Like last night, someone was just saying, when you got promoted at work, there was someone who felt that he or she deserved it more. And I said, yeah, maybe. And I don't take it personally. I'm not going to go, I'm going to prove that I deserve it. I'm like, yeah, that's your thought, not mine.
Ah,
So, yeah, not taking things personally takes a load off
right.
life.
And the key to that is self-awareness again.
And to just not have, they call it the spotlight syndrome, where
Yes.
we think that everybody is doing everything against us. We're not that important,
Or
unfortunately.
looking at like our zits or
Exactly.
our fat.
Exactly. Yeah. So if it doesn't matter to you, even if they really are mansplaining it to you or criticizing you, if it doesn't have the desired effect, then
Right.
it will change the way they respond to us as well.
Right. Right. I suddenly recall because, as I said, I'm writing my book. What I often got questions from friends. How come you weren't more offended when people had insensitive remarks about why you didn't want to have children? And then, just as you explained it, I thought that they were entitled to their own opinion and it didn't really affect me because I had made a decision early in life and what they said was not going to change my mind.
Exactly.
And so I just laughed them off. And so
Exactly.
maybe that's what you need to do to be able to not take things personally.
Yeah, one of the best compliments given to me by my friend is it's so difficult to offend you. I'm like, yeah, try. You're ugly. Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
Diba? Parang,
And how did you get there?
I think
Share
I
your secret naman.
I think I went through a phase where I cared too much and I tried so hard and it didn't work anyway.
How old were you then?
Oh gosh. 9, 10, 11.
Okay. Wow.
Super
Pretty
young.
young.
Super young. And I was just so lucky that I learned counseling at 11.
Oh, wow.
I went through my first counseling
I
workshop.
love that.
So I started the awareness and healing very early in life.
So may PhD ka na sa inner work.
Oh, kung pwede lang. I'll give myself a certificate.
Right. That's the key. Okay. What else holds women back?
Wanting to do it all. I think that if we become more choiceful, then it's really helpful.
Choiceful. I love that.
And to outsource many things. There are so many things that can be done by other people that we just have to do things by ourselves. That makes it difficult. I think being a perfectionist as well. Yeah, when you're a perfectionist, it's a great recipe for procrastination, I always say. And you never get anything out,
Right.
right? What else? The living life for others. It's different when we have a purpose that's beyond ourselves. It's different when we're living it for others so that people will be happy, so that they will love me. It's the
Earning their love.
earning of the love, earning of my place under the sun.
Wow.
It's like we feel like it's not inherent. Our value is not inherent. And we have to have someone give it to us. We have to ask permission to be seen and heard.
So our love language is acts of service.
Usually, acts of service. Parang lahat nga eh, di ba? When we have that, we call it the anxious style, attachment
Right,
style,
right.
is that we do everything because we're codependent on people's reaction to us. Because how they react, how their moods are, talks about who we are. And we have to get out of that. We have to know that who I am is a choice I make. How I live my life is a choice I make.
Right. And what are some examples of how Filipino women specifically try to earn their love and do everything for everyone
I think
that you encounter?
like in relationships, a lot of the women I coach are very strong women, but it gets to a point that they get attracted to men who are not as strong, and then they overcompensate. They do everything for the men, wala nang ang ginagawa yung men, pero they have to choose what to eat pa while they're
Oh my
earning, while they're
gosh.
doing all of that.
Okay.
And then the men will complain that, oh, you don't have time, you're not taking care of yourself. And the women are like, but I'm doing everything. And I go, yeah, why? It's it's like we feel that if we overdo things, it gives us permission to be happy about ourselves, to be content with who we are.
Right.
And that's dapat the other way around. Be
Right.
content first, love your life, and then come from a full cup, as they say.
Right. Wow. So we can't believe that we are lovable as we are.
Right.
And
That
we have to.
that we're invaluable as we are. That unconditional love, we give so much of that to everybody around us except to ourselves.
Right.
With us, it's always with condition. I will love myself if I get that project, if I earn this much.
Right. And what can you outsource sa mga acts of service na ito?
So, with in this day and age, no, there's technology.
Right.
There's Grab. There's nannies for people who have children, and then there are maids, there are secretaries. You can hire so many people. I know between the men and women, executives, business owners that I know, women just takes care of so much. They want all the information. They centralize everything to themselves. They don't empower other people. With men, they just don't want to think about it. So bahala ka na. In a sense, they're empowering other people. And with
Right.
women, because we have so much capacity, we take it on.
Right.
And then everybody will need our approval on every single thing. And then we complain that we don't have time.
Right. So be more like a man in this respect.
Maybe. And I don't like referencing men. It's
Right.
like just be more choiceful.
Right.
What do you say yes to? What do you say no to? And every time I do something, I think, if my time was so precious, would I be doing this?
Right.
I think that's one thing, is to think that I am precious and my time is precious. And that will, I think, will have more criteria to what we do if we put weight
Right.
on our own time and
Right.
energy.
So I am precious, but this task is not so precious that only I can do it.
Yeah, is it worth it?
Right.
I always think of it in that sense. Worth it ba? Pagsasakitan ko ng ulo yan? Like, simple thing. Some people would do, oh, I'll do garage sale. I'll take one picture and then sell it. If you have the time, great. If you enjoy it, great. But in the scheme of things, if I'm thinking of, oh my God, there's someone who's gonna kill himself if I don't talk to him now, will I even think of that? No, na, I'll just give it away. Diba? Just those things.
Or for me, I found that because I live with my husband, we don't have help. People often say, "Wow, you're still out. What will your husband eat?" He's a grown man and he can find his own food.
Yeah.
But most women I know will have to rush home so that they can prepare the food that their
Yeah.
husband can very capably prepare on his own.
Exactly.
Right? Or for example, going to the supermarket every week can take up hours.
I can
But
imagine.
if you have an app
Exactly.
and choose the same things every week, how much time did you save? But why do women want to do those things even if technology or outsourcing is already a solution? What about women and our expectations of ourselves?
Maybe for our generation, our parents were mostly housewives. And so we got that as a model of that's how women should be.
Right.
And if the men in our lives had that model as their mom, then they also have that expectation. And in spite taking on a lot more roles and responsibilities, we say, okay, I'll do that and this and this and this. And being able to have that conversation of, let's level things here. Because a lot of women I know, they're the breadwinners.
Right.
Since I'm the breadwinner, could we allocate some of the tasks to someone else? the house helps, the husband, or
Right.
whoever.
Right. Wow.
A quick commercial break, and we'll be back in a flash.
Hey! Nakikinig ka ba sa podcasts? You can win 5,000 pesos in cash if you answer this survey. Visit go4thwallglobal.com/survey. That's go.fourthwallglobal.com/survey. And make sure you complete the survey to be qualified. O, di ba? Nag-survey ka lang, nagka 5,000 pesos ka pa. Winner!
Hi, guys. We are the Eavesdrop Podcast. My name is Francesca.
My name is Jelly.
This is Delamar.
This is Jude. What's up?
Yeah, and we are inviting you to check us out, your fellow TPN podcast.
And if you want to learn more about life, what's happening around us, you want to know about love, healing, this is the podcast you should be listening to.
Eavesdrop, 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 eavesdrop. Sometimes we get drunk and do the show. Those are the fun ones.
Like today,
Ooh, why? Who's drunk?
Like right now.
you're red as a bug.
Am I? Eavesdrop, please catch it. 4 hosts going crazy. You'll have fun. You'll cry. Everything else. So please check it out. The Eavesdrop.
Only on the Pod Network.
My mother was not a housewife, and yet she did all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes it hard for the next generation, right?
And what is the damage of doing all that when you spread yourself so thin and you overcommit?
It depletes us. We dilute who we are. And then eventually we start to, so it starts with self-neglect. And then we teach people how to treat us. They also start to neglect us because every time they ask, what do you need? I don't need anything. And so they get the impression she doesn't need anyone and doesn't need anything. And then over time, we start to be resentful. And then we deplete ourselves to a point that just a fraction of who we were is left. And then this is the time there's midlife crisis. The men are cheating and the women are resentful. I did everything for you. And what we don't realize is in being overly of service, we were actually perpetuating that pattern.
Wow.
Then the men feel, oh, I don't need them. And then we become their mom. We become their nanny. We become everything else but a wife.
Wow. We enable the behavior that we don't want.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. Are there positive default traits as women that we can use to step into our own power?
Right. So our ability to care for so many things is a gift. We just have to be choiceful what we do about it. I always think, what is the smallest thing I could do that will have the biggest impact? If it's difficult, I'm thinking of it wrong. So do I have the right channel? Do I need to upskill myself? Do I need people around me? Do I need support? Do I need community? I always think of that. If it takes too much work, there's something wrong here.
Right.
And I think a lot of women are just so used to things being so difficult that even if it's not supposed to be difficult, we make it difficult.
Yeah. Why? Why are we like that?
So if that's what we saw,
Right.
and that is what we think is what makes us good women, then we're bound to live by it.
So we model our own behavior after what we're used to.
And so to take a step back and to think, is this cultural norm helpful for me? What do I need to reprogram in myself? Because a lot of us have the same programming in a certain generation, certain country. And going against those programming will also give the people around us, the women around us, the permission to do so. And eventually we're creating a new cultural norm. Wow. And it's a favor to ourselves, the people around us, and the next generations.
How do we start? There seems like there's a lot to unlearn that we're just used to and we do it by default. How do we start with ourselves?
First is, I think, give ourselves the space to think and to ask ourselves, is this helpful or not? It's so simple, but we don't get to do it because we want to multitask, we want to learn, and we have to choose, what do I give attention to? Even if it's just a thought. It's a thought of, what if they judge me? What if we have the power to control what we think? So use that power. The choice of, is it helpful or not? Do I want it or not? Is so powerful. Because if you don't want it, now you can do something about it if you're aware. A lot of people are just so drowning in all of those unprocessed emotions and thoughts that they just live like zombies. Either they're overwhelmed or they just numb it. So it's an on and off. And they become afraid of their thoughts. They can't be alone. They can't stand silence. And yeah, giving ourselves that space, and which is why retail therapy is so helpful. Because it's that space where you are forced to really think about it. And when someone asks you a question, you're forced to go outside of your patterns to answer that question. And that gives a lot of awareness.
What do you mean?
So-
Shopping?
Sorry.
Retail therapy?
Retail, talking
Oh,
is retail
okay.
therapy.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Talk therapy. Did I say retail?
I was
I said,
wondering.
why are we talking about shopping?
Did you mean that when you shop, you're alone with your thoughts? I love
Yeah.
it. But then if you deserve it, then retail therapy.
Yes. Yes. Well, yeah, shop. Don't call it therapy.
Talk therapy.
Talk therapy.
Right. So what are good questions to start with?
What about my life gives me joy?
Okay.
What's life-giving?
Right.
And what's life-depleting?
Right.
And
And
that-
if your answer to that is the same thing, like doing things for my loved ones.
Yeah,
It
so
gives you joy and yet it depletes you.
so how much of it so that it gives you joy? And then beyond what?
Right.
To the point that it depletes.
Right.
Sometimes to whom?
Right.
Sometimes it's when. Right? When I don't feel like it, I can just say no. Giving ourselves permission to not do things is so therapeutic in itself.
Right. So essentially, how can women define success and joy in their own on their own terms rather than falling back to the default markers of those?
I think if we could give a criteria to ourselves that's not in reference to what's expected of by our moms,
Right.
what was done by the people before us in the family, for example. What do I need to do so that I'm successful? For me, if I could impact people positively, one conversation, I write something, it brings out the best in someone, that's success for me. For some people, it might be to afford certain things. For some people, it's to afford to not do anything.
Right.
And giving ourselves permission to define success on our own terms gives us so much power as well.
Right. And how do you turn off the noise from external comments or opinions about how we live our lives?
There's a simple hack in neurolinguistic programming. I say, when you think of people judging you, do you see them or do you hear it?
Oh.
If you see them, for people who are visual, they see literally faces of people that they hate. I go, could you black it out?
Oh.
If they hear it, I say, where do you hear it? And they go, is that really a question? Yeah. Right, left, right. Could you put it to your left? This is what we call movie editing.
Wow.
Because we live in movies. There are movies in our minds all the time about past, present, future. So I say, do you know how to mute the TV? Mute the voices. And it's just gone.
What's an example of a voice? I don't know if you still hear voices, but maybe in your past,
Yeah.
like an inner critic voice.
So sometimes it's the voice of their mom. of, see, you're not doing it right.
Right.
Or the voice of a mentor that they had. Or sometimes it's themselves. Why did I do that? I should have done it this way. Exactly. And so you could sense it with people who can't finish their sentences or they keep correcting themselves midway. Like, may sabihin ako kasi, maganda sana. Ay, hindi naman maganda. I'm like, could you finish your sentence before
Okay.
before you correct yourself? It's that inner critic of, am I saying it right? What's the right word? What do I do?
Right. Which is probably why women can't go direct to the point.
Exactly. They want to say so many things and they're not able to organize because they're overwhelmed.
Right. So care is a positive. What else?
I think we're more wired to be emotionally in tune.
Okay.
And that's very helpful because we can empathize. And when we use that positively, we make better decisions
Right.
because we're able to incorporate what's cognitive and what people feel.
Right.
And men are going to go, you don't go emotional. But when they train for their campaigns, they think of how to touch emotions of constituents.
Right.
It's just using it in the right way.
Right. So use your power of empathy choicefully
Right.
and not in imagining the worst.
Yeah. Not an exploding.
Right. What else holds us back?
What I said about giving ourselves conditions. If we call it self-esteem. Esteem means what my belief is about my worth.
Right.
So if we could allow ourselves to have self-esteem based on just existing, I think it takes a lot of burden, a lot of pressure. Now I can just be myself instead of needing to prove myself, needing to be so good. Because we don't have to be so good, right? For some people, we just need to be consistent. But if we try to be good in so many ways, we're not even consistent and people are confused about what our point is.
Right. And this is where the perfectionistic syndrome comes in.
The perfectionist syndrome is it's never enough. I need to take one more workshop. I need to learn more. I need to learn more before I speak up.
Right.
And what we want instead of perfectionism is optimization. This is what I know now. I talk about what I know. If I don't know it, I'll talk about it some other time. So you don't need to have everything prepared.
Right.
We also need to learn to count. Count is I celebrate small wins.
Oh, okay.
Because success begets success. For many women, I did this, but it's not enough. I should do this. I should do this. And we keep increasing the bar and we never reach it. And once we reach it, it's the next one, the next one. And then it makes us into this person that's always chasing, always anxious, always thinking of what's next. And people fail to experience the power and the beauty of our presence.
Right.
So if we could just be with ourselves, enjoy the moment, I think that's where our power lies.
Right. I read somewhere that when children are raised to perform and achieve, they grow up thinking that they are not lovable just the way they are.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm reminded of by what he said.
Yeah, that's what we call the being versus doing. If we are overly praised on the doing,
Yes. Good
then
job.
right, and then and when parents say, "Oh, if you're the top of the class, mommy loves you, mommy's gonna be happy," and the other side of that is, if I don't, then it means that mommy won't be happy with me,
Right.
and that perpetuates this belief that I'm not enough as I am.
Right. And what's the best way to get to that point and really believe that we are lovable just the way we are without doing anything?
So we say that something does not have to be true for us to believe in it. But what we believe in will dictate everything else. So for example, a lot of people seem to feel that the world is unsafe. So if I felt that this room is full of murderers, how I express myself is going to be very different as when I believe that, oh, these are friends. These are great people to work with. And when we think that it's an unsafe world and we feel threatened, then we go into the world like we're competing, like we're fighting against people. So believing that it's a safe, abundant world will encourage us to maximize our potentials.
Wow. It's a safe, abundant world. Believe it.
And believing that I am enough, period. In coaching, we have this it's a coaching pattern called metastating self-esteem. So in like 10 minutes, we shift that believing I'm not good enough into I am enough. I'm unconditionally lovable.
In 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Maybe for the next episode.
Yes, we can.
For women who have been playing small because they're held back by all these beliefs and expectations, what's the first step they can take today to step into their own power?
First is to realize that you're not doing anyone service
Right.
by making yourself small. And stepping into power is not a threat. Stepping into power is becoming more of ourselves, is enjoying our life more, and it's allowing ourselves to be seen
Right.
and to give the gift of who we are. So we don't have to do anything. We just speak up. We allow ourselves to be visible. And I think from a personal and professional perspective, that gives us a lot of a big shift in how we talk to people, how we express ourselves, and how we treat other people as well.
So stepping into power starts with stepping into the light and taking up space and being seen and heard.
Right.
Right. Thank you, Coach Sheila.
Thank you.
Thank you for another art card worthy episode.
Thank you.
As always, where can people find out more about what you do and contact you?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Altius.coaching is my Instagram handle. And Facebook, it's Altius Coaching and Consulting.
Right.
So drop me an email.
And watch out for her articles in the Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Yes.
Right.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for listening to You Can Do This. If you want to know more about me, visit mirza.com. That's MYRZA.com. And follow me at Mirza Season on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you like this episode, please don't forget to rate it 5 stars. Hit the follow button on your podcast streaming platforms and hit the notification bell to get alerted every time we release a new episode. Catch you at our next convo, and always remember, you can do this.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.